Ab, world with Mefeskadus, Adawamla, Amen. Besama Ab, world with Mefeskadus, Adawamla, Amen. Besama Ab, world with Mefeskadus, Adawamla, Amen. Good morning. Hope everyone's doing well, and give thanks to God for this day and giving us the opportunity to see this day. So straight in with the reading. It's quite long, so we'll get straight into it. Leviticus 6. Give thanks for these few words. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, if anyone sins and commits a trespass against Yahweh and deals falsely with his neighbor in a matter of deposit, or of bargain, or of robbery, or who has oppressed his neighbor, or who has found that which was lost and lied about it, and swearing to a lie, in any of these things that a man sins in his actions, then it shall be, if he has sinned and is guilty, he shall restore that which he took by robbery, or the thing which he has gotten by oppression, or the deposit which was committed to him, or the lost thing which was found, or any of the thing about which he has sworn falsely, he shall restore it in full. He shall add a fifth part more to it. He shall return it to him to whom it belongs in the day of his being found guilty. He shall bring his trespass offering to Yahweh, a ram without defect from the flock, according to your estimation, for a trespass offering to the priest. The priest shall make atonement for him before Yahweh. He shall be forgiven concerning whatever he does to become guilty. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, command Aaron and his sons, saying, this is the law of the burnt offering. The burnt offering shall be on the hearth of the altar all night until the morning, and the fire of the altar shall be kept burning on it. The priest shall put on his linen garment, and he shall put on his linen trousers upon his body, and he shall remove the ashes from where the fire has consumed the burnt offering on the altar. He shall put them besides the altar. He shall take off his garments and put on other garments, and carry the ashes outside the camp to a clean place. The fire on the altar shall be kept burning on it, it shall not go out, and the priest shall burn wood on it every morning. He shall lay the burnt offering in an order upon it, and shall burn on it the fat of the peace offering. Fire shall be kept burning on the altar continually, it shall not go out. This is the law of the meal offering. The sons of Aaron shall offer it before Yahweh, before the altar. He shall take from there his handful of fine flour of the meal offering, and of its oil, and all the frankincense which is on the meal offering. And it shall burn on the altar for a pleasant aroma, as its memorial portion to Yahweh. That which is left of it Aaron and his sons shall eat. It shall be eaten without yeast in the holy place. They shall eat it in the court of the tent of the meeting. It shall not be baked with yeast. I have given it as their portion of my offerings made by fire. It is the most holy, as are the sin offerings and the trespass offering. Every male among the children of Aaron shall eat of it, and their portion forever throughout their generations, from the offerings of Yahweh made by fire. Whoever touches them shall be holy. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, this is the offering of Aaron and his sons, which they shall offer to Yahweh in the day which he is anointed. 1/10 of an ephah of fine flour for a meal offering perpetually, half of it in the morning and half of it in the evening. It shall be made with oil in the griddle. When it is soaked, you shall bring it in. You shall offer the meal offering in baked pieces for a pleasant aroma to Yahweh. The anointed priest that will be in his place from among his sons shall offer it. By a statute forever it shall be wholly burned to Yahweh. Every meal offering of a priest shall be wholly burned. It shall not be eaten. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, speak to Aaron and his sons, saying, this is the law of the sin offering, and in the place where the burnt offering is killed. The sin offering shall be killed before Yahweh. It is most holy. The priest who offers it for a sin shall eat it. It shall be eaten in a holy place in the court of the tent of meeting. Whatever shall touch its flesh shall be holy. When there is any of its blood sprinkled on a garment, you shall wash that on which it was sprinkled in a holy place. But the earthen vessel in which it was boiled shall be broken. And if it is boiled in a bronze vessel, it shall be scoured and rinsed in water. Every male among the priests shall eat of it, and it is most holy. No sin offering of which any of the blood is brought into the tent of the meeting to make the atonement of the holy place shall be eaten. It shall be burned with fire. For these few words I give thanks, blessings, love. So yeah, more offerings to God for sins and kind of the punishment for sins. And here we have the sins detailed at the beginning. So commit of trespass against Yahweh, for dealing falsely with his neighbor in a matter of deposit, robbery and oppression, and people that have lied about people and benefited, and also people that have found things and concealed they found it and kept it for themselves. And I think the interesting thing here is, and it's maybe is a detail we kind of take for granted, but with these sins, these are all sins that have been committed against other people, besides the first one, which is commits trespass against Yahweh. But all the rest of them are sins that have been committed against other people. But the guilt, the punishment for these sins isn't just about offering a sacrifice to Yahweh, but is also about restitution to the person that you committed the crime against. So it says here, on the day that you would be found guilty, you have to give back that which you kind of benefited, that which you stolen, that which you found, and all the other benefits. You have to give that back to the person on the day you got found guilty, but also that has to be multiplied by 5 and 5 times more as well. So there's a restitution here, which I think is good to see. So it's not only the offering to God, but it's also recognizing that a person has been wronged and that there must be kind of restitution against that. And the rest of the chapter is very much details for how the priest deals with the burnt offerings on the altar. And yeah, the role of the priest in terms of that intercession, how they're navigating and dealing with those individuals, but also the processes that they have to go through, because it's a very ritual. You know, I talked yesterday about that connection between state and religion. So here we have the judge, the judge and the jury, etc., all being the priests. And it's then how they are dealing with that process in a holy way, in a very ritualistic way. So it talks about when the offerings are brought on the altar, the priest then has to change his garments and take out those burnt offerings to the ground and then scatter the ashes, etc., etc. And if any blood gets on the garment, that has to be washed. So kind of, very detailed instructions for how the priests deal with it. But as I say, I'm pleased to see that the restitution against the victims is very firmly in there. And as we've seen in earlier chapters, that consideration of care and attention for people that have been oppressed, that people have been wronged, that, it's clearly signposted here that God wants those things put right and wants people that have been oppressed and wronged for them to be treated fairly in the eyes of the law and in the eyes of other people, and for them to be recompensed. And, what we're also seeing here is people being held accountable, but not only privately held accountable, but publicly held accountable as well. So there's a kind of a commonality across all people. And as we saw in the earlier chapters as well, when the priests commit a sin, that they are also held accountable as well. I will end it here. I'm not sure I have much more to say on that, because there's commonalities across many of the different chapters. And again, Leviticus, which is kind of interpreted as pertaining to Levi, which is the priestly tribe. So it's very much about how the priests deal with people, how the priests deal with enacting the laws, because it's one thing having laws, but it's another thing putting those laws into action. What does it actually look like in practice with people on a day-to-day level, with how those laws are put into action? And this book of Leviticus is showing us that, yeah, it's one thing having the covenants and the 10 commandments and, and having those as instructions for people. But what does that actually look like in practice in people's kind of day-to-day lives, and how the priests then look to enforce those laws? And that's what these chapters are very much about. So yeah, I guess we can relate to that on a daily level in terms of our daily lives, and adhering to certain laws and rules in the workplace and in society, etc. And sometimes we could rub up against those with tension, and other ones we understand why they are the way that they are. So yeah, I did say I'll end it there about a minute ago, so I will end it here before I rabble on. So give thanks and blessings and love, and yeah, have a good day, have a safe day, and God willing, more tomorrow. Give thanks.